I've got my drink, I've got my blanket, I've got my notes. Let's start my 2025 beginning of the year book tag. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new and if you're not, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to be doing the beginning of the year challenge. I saw Belle Terese, I think, do this. I'll show you her channel here and link it up below. And she said she got it from Larry Reed. So I'm going with the same questions. We've got 18 in total, all about all my bookish kind of thoughts, views, ideas for the year of 2025. So I saw her do it and really enjoyed it and thought, what better way to kind of introduce myself to my channel. So I am Lauren. I started this channel in October, I think. Just documenting my reads, documenting my books, and I love consuming booktube content, and so I want to be able to produce that as well, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm sat on the floor, I'm cozy, I've got my drink, and so grab yourself a drink and let's get into the video. Okay, question number 1 is, how many books are you planning on reading in 2025? So my notes are just down here, which is why I'm looking down there. Sorry guys. I have set a numerical goal on Goodreads as 100. I read 83 last year, so I'm really trying to push myself this year to read that little bit more. I know when you're watching all the booktubers, they're like, oh, there are a lot of booktubers now are trying to read less and enjoy their reads. However, I've got loads of books on my physical TBR. I've got quite a few books on my Kindle TBR, and they're all such books that I want to get to. They're so anticipated. So I want to set it at 100. I want to get my physical TBR down this year, and then I'll probably dial it back next year. I'm currently in uni studying my master's, so I have a lot of free time. I teach as a supply, so if you are a teacher, you'll understand that supply teaching is so much nicer because it's more chilled. So I have most evenings free to do what I want, and the weekends as well free doing what I want. So I can I have a lot of free time to read books, which is why I set a goal of 100. And in order to achieve that, I want to try and read about 10 a month. To achieve 100, you need to read roughly 8 to 9 each month. So I thought if I do 10, then by the time it gets to September, when I'm hopefully going full-time in work again, I will have got myself up to 80 books, which then means I'm left with 20 left to reach my goal, which is only 5 a month, which is very doable when holding down a full-time job and everything else that comes with life. So I think that's a very achievable goal. I think 100 months, fine. And so far this month, I'm on track to reach that. So question number 2, a book you're likely to reread this year. So I don't reread a lot of books. I enjoy reading new books. There's always so many new books out there, and actually rereading is something that I want to get better at, rereading some of my favourite books. And so I don't reread a lot. I will say I will likely reread the Heartstopper series, maybe if volume 6 comes out this year. However, one book that I know I'm definitely going to get to, definitely going to reread, is Jojo Moyes' After You. If you saw my finishing series video, I'm just looking because I read it this month. I was seeing if I read it this month or in December. If you saw my finishing series video, you would have seen that I finished Me Before You. And I enjoyed the book. I didn't think it was as good as reading it the first time, and so I believe I have read this book, and so it will be a reread. However, I don't remember the plot of this book at all, and so looking forward to getting back into the characters and seeing what Lou does past the ending of book 1. So this is the book that I will reread this year. Like I said, I might also reread Heartstopper volumes 1 to 5 because they are just incredible. Okay, question number 3. So a priority read on your 2025 TBR. Now, please go back and watch my 25 books to read in 2025, because those are like my 25 top priority books. They're the books that I want to get to this year. I must read them, and I've done my TBR video for February and there's quite a few on there, so I'm very excited for that because that will have knocked off a couple. I've also read None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell this month, and so that's another one knocked off my 25 in 2025. So they're kind of the main 25. However, out of those 25, there is one that under no circumstance am I not reading this year, because I'm so excited to get to it, and I've heard so many good things, and I want to be part of the conversation that I'm just at the moment not part of. And I get really bad FOMO, and I cannot sit on the sidelines anymore, and that is Happy Place by Miss Emily Henry. I'm sorry, how am I a booktuber, have a bookstagram, and have not read this book? I don't know, it's beyond me. My best friend's read it. This is my copy, but she actually read this copy, and she told me it was incredible, and so has everyone else on the internet. Everyone that I watch tells me how amazing Happy Place is. Why have I not read it yet? I don't know. So this is tip top of my TBR from the 25 and 2025, and so I'm hoping to get to it soon, but I just need to read it. And if you don't know what this is about, from what I've heard, I try and go into as many books as blind as possible. What I've heard, it's two people who were in a relationship and then go on holiday with their friends. However, their relationship has ended, and so they're pretending to be still together in order to survive the holiday and to not ruin it with their friends. So it's kind of fake dating, maybe that like one room, one bed trope. I'm very excited to see this, and Emily Henry's writing is more romance but heavily literary fiction, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm hoping this is the book that gets me to love Emily Henry, because I read People We Meet on Vacation, the book about two friends who used to go on holiday together every year and then rekindled it for one holiday, and I wasn't a massive fan. However, I know a few people were also felt the same when they loved Emily Henry before, so this needs to be the book. Okay, question number 4. An author I won't be reading any more books from this year. Now, slight spoiler for my wrap up this month, I've actually read John Grisham, Theodore Boone, and at some point last year I read A Time for Mercy by John Grisham, and I didn't enjoy it. And so I thought, right, okay, I wasn't going to pick up Theodore Boone anytime soon. I wasn't going to pick up any of his books. I actually own 3 of his books that I've not read, and I wasn't going to pick up any of them anytime soon. However, I got shortest book for my TBR in January. Yeah, my January TBR. I got shortest book, and that gave me Theodore Boone by John Grisham. I picked it up. I started reading it. It's a children's book, so I already knew that going into it. So I thought maybe this might be the book that will show me John Grisham's writing in a different style, and maybe that might kind of encourage me to carry on reading his book. I didn't like it. I listened to it on audiobook to get through the book because I don't DNF books, and I did wonder maybe when I got to the end I might change how I thought. I didn't like it. This was his second chance, and I don't want to waste my time reading his books. They're not for me. They're not my vibe. So I'm going to donate these to the charity shop and leave room on my TBR for books I'm actually excited to get to, because I think if I'd left the other 2 on my TBR, I wouldn't have read them, and then they would have just been sat there. Or if I got them in like a prompt, which is very specific, maybe I would have picked them up, but I wouldn't have enjoyed it, and so what's the point in having them? So John Grisham, I'm afraid, is not for me, and he's going in the bin, pretty much, in my eyes. If you love him, great, you enjoy your books. I wish I enjoyed him, because he's got so many books out there. Okay, question number 5. Something new I want to read, new genres, new tropes. So they're not really new, I just want to read more of. So I really want to read more fantasy. I struggle with fantasy, however, feel so left out because so many people that I watch and love fantasy, and I just don't feel it. So I'm very much taking fantasy by vibes more than if it's the most popular thing. So a few fantasies that I really want to get to are Divine Rivals, which I've actually got. Phantasma intrigues me. And for a minute, I think that's about it. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies is another one that intrigues me. The Midnight Library's classed as fantasy, so I want to read that one. But I'm very much take fantasy by vibes, and I'm not going to force myself to read it or read it for a video and then not enjoy it as much because it's under a time crunch. So yeah, fantasy for me is one that I want to get more into and just read the books that call out to me. I also want to read more literary fiction because I found last year I was very much, no, I'm a romance and a thriller girly and they're the genres that I read, but actually some of the literary fiction books or general fiction books I really enjoyed, and so I want to read a few more of those. And I would say a new genre that I want to get into is dark romance, but I want to read like Hook and Scarred by Emily McIntyre because I've heard such great things. So more dipping my toes into maybe that little kind of dark romance realm just to see what it's about, because I see a few booktubers and bookstagrammers that I watch and they really like dark romance, and it's not a genre that I'm familiar with. So I think that might be a new genre that I might maybe dip my toes in this year. Okay, question number 6, a popular book that I want to read. So a lot of the books in my 25 and 2025 are actually really popular books because I feel like I'm missing out. However, there are 2 main ones that I just are so popular that I really want to read it. I've heard great things about it. The book number 1 of the 2 is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is a ice hockey romance with a figure skater. I've never read, never's maybe a strong word, I don't think I've ever read a true ice hockey romance, and so this is where I need to start my love for ice hockey romances because everyone else seems to love it. And I really want to read Icebreaker, so that is going to be one that I will get to so soon because I want to read it in the winter. So it's actually on my February TBR, so it should be being read next month, and I really look forward to it. It sounds like a great book. Everyone that I know that's read it loves it, so Icebreaker. And the second one is Magnolia of Hearts by Jessa Hastings. I'm sorry, Gossip Girl, London, rich people problems, wrapped up, bit of toxicity, wrapped up in a bow. Yes, please. I need to read it. And I don't know why I haven't read it, because when I think like Rachel Catherine, Sara Carrolli, they talk about it quite a lot. And when they describe it, I'm like, that book is so up my street that I have to read it. And yet I haven't. So if someone could explain that to me, that would be great, because I just really want to get to it. I really want to see what all the fuss is about. I really want to read all the characters. I just need to know now what's happening, because so many things have been said that are like spoiler free, but like little spoilers. I guess when we do spoiler free vlogs, it's more not spoilers. However, we talk about it in a way that if you've read the book, you know exactly what we're talking about. Yet when you've not read the book, you don't, if that makes sense. I need to read it now so I know what people are talking about, because at the moment I don't know what people are talking about and it's stressful. There we go. Now, question number 7. My most anticipated 2025 book release. Now, I'm so basic with this, and it's Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I cannot wait. I am going to the Works or to Waterstones on release day, and I'm going to get it, and I'm going to just sit down and read because it's all I need in my life. I'm so excited. I have to know what happens. I want to know right now what happens. I want to know how this kind of the cliffhanger is going to be resolved. It's a need to know situation, and I'm not in the know, so therefore I need to. I am sat ready for that book right now. I have seen a lot of other good releases coming out this year. However, none of them have really been like solidified for me that I have to go out and read it. And I'm going to try and not buy that many books this year. I'm not on a book buying ban. I'm just not buying books, because if I ban myself, then I want to do it. So if I'm like, oh, but actually I've got lots of books at home to read, I'm going to try and read them first, then maybe I'll go out and buy a few more books. But Fearless by Lauren Roberts, that's being bought. Question number 8. Bookish goal for 2025. Now, I did talk about these in my reset video, and I think today actually, when you see this, maybe it was last week, I'll have released a bookish goal list on my Instagram. But the 2 main ones, I guess, are obviously bringing my physical TBR down to less than, I put on here less than 100, it's not, I want it down to less than 50. At the moment I've got 80 books, I think, maybe slightly less because I've read a few of them. So between 70 and 80 books on my TBR. So I want to bring that down to less than 50, preferably even less than that. I want maybe even less than 30 on my TBR by the end of the year. Obviously, if I get lots of books for Christmas and it tops it over a little bit, then I'll be happy with that. I just want to, by Christmas, have less than 30 books on my TBR. And I want the series that I'm in the middle of to be less than 10. That's a really key one for me because I'm currently in the middle, or haven't even started, but kind of own the books for 40 series, which just seems ridiculous. So each month this year, I'm going to be releasing a series vlog, which has 3 books at least read in it, and I will also be focusing on kind of series books as I'm reading throughout the year. I need to get them down, I need to get my physical TBR down, and so they're the 2 main focuses this year. Question number 9. A book that's been on your TBR you probably won't ever read. Now, I have not a small TBR, but I have a very selective TBR. I've got books on my TBR and I want to read all of them really. There's no books on there that I'm very much like, oh, I really don't want to read that. I don't want to read that one right now, but I do want to read it. So when I wrote these questions down and I thought about it and I've written my answers, I actually wrote none. There's none really on there that I don't want to read. However, if I was to pick one, it would probably be Heroes, a novel, Saving Charlie. This book just doesn't appeal to me. I think it's part of like a series, or it's like a standalone novel. So I will try it and I will read it at some point, I'm sure, but it's not one that I'm like, I have to get to right now because I cannot cope. It's just, it exists on my TBR basically. There's a few like that as well. I've got a few which, maybe some of the thrillers which I've not heard a lot about and I've not read the author before, where I'm like, oh, I would read it and I could read it, but it's not one that I really have to get to and want to get to. So Heroes, Saving Charlie if I had to pick one, but to be fair, most of them, and I think all of them, I will read at some point. It's just this one is probably the lowest on my want to read. Okay, question number 10. A series that I want to read this year. So I've already said about Icebreaker and Magnolia Parks. Those 2 books and series are series that I want to read. I've got both Icebreaker and Wildfire, so I want to read at least both of these. And then I also would like to buy Daydream and get kind of up to date with that. And then Magnolia Parks, I want to at least start it by the end of the year. And the 3rd series I want to read this year is Part of Your Worlds I own just for the summer. However, I want to get Part of Your World and Yours Truly because then I will have the whole series and I want to read them all by the end of the year, which I think is doable. I've heard so many good things about Abby Jimenez. I also own Part of Your World, it's just on my Kindle. So I've heard so many good things about Abby Jimenez that I just want to, again, see what the hype's about, get involved and be part of the conversation because she seems like such a good author that I will like. So those are the 3 series that I want to read this year. Question 11, auto by authors going into 2025. Now, if you'd have asked me this last year, I would have said I don't really have any auto by authors. There's no authors which I'm really obsessed with or that I have to get their books. There's a few authors where I would look and go, oh yeah, I like some of their works. And I think maybe like a Sarah Adams for me, I read one of her books and I did really like it, but it's nothing amazing. And so I've got another couple of her books on my TBR, which I'm going to get to, could make her an auto by author. However, none of them that I'm like, I'm absolutely blown away. I have to get everything that this author's released. Now, I have 2 this year, which I think is really good. So I've got Ali Hazelwood, who I've read The Love Hypothesis, read it in less than a day. Have I read any of her other books? No. So I could be wrong in saying that. However, I just loved it so much that I know she's going to be an auto by author for me. And then the second one is Lauren Roberts, because she has written Powerless, Powerful and Reckless, and written it in such a way. Fantasy lovers love it, but I'm not a fantasy lover. I really struggle reading fantasy. However, I ate those books up and really got into it and really enjoyed it. And so anything she releases for now, I'm going to be buying and I'm going to be consuming. So Fearless, better hurry up, please. I guess another one, maybe not so much an author by author now, but an author that I have to read her backlist is Colleen Hoover. Purely because I've read most of her books, so I just now want to get through her backlist and just say, like, I've read everything Colleen Hoover's released. So maybe going forward I might buy her books, but I'm not sure. I'm going to see how that goes because she's starting to become an author which I'm not overly obsessed with, but we'll see. Question 12. A book to show adaptation I'm excited about this year. Now, for me, one that I'm excited to watch is Heartstopper. So I read Heartstoppers volume 1 to 5 in September. Loved them. 5-star series, absolutely incredible. Best things I've ever read. I used to read Simpsons comic. I think it was The Simpsons, yeah. I used to read comics when I was younger and I really enjoyed them, but I never really thought about getting into like graphic novels, and I don't know why, because it's just something that's never occurred to me. I picked up the Heartstopper novels after watching Sara Carrolli obsess over them and tell us how amazing they are, and just she sold them to me. She influenced me. I had to buy them, I had to read them, and I did. Now that I've read them, I really want to watch the TV series. So I know it's not necessarily a TV series or show that's coming out this year, however it's one that I want to get to. And one that's being made this year is The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. That casting seems perfect. I think the Verity film might be being made as well, and that's another one that I'm really looking forward to reading or watching by Colleen Hoover, The Verity by Colleen Hoover. They're kind of the three that I'm really excited for this year. I'm not sure if The Housemaid and Verity will be out this year or if they're just being made, but they're kind of the ones that are on my radar at the moment that I have to watch and see. Question 13. A sequel you're anticipating. Now, if you haven't guessed already, it's Heartstopper Volume 6 and Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I've spoken and I've said my piece about Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I just have to know. Heartstopper Volume 6 though, I'm very much anticipating it and I thought it was out this year. However, watching one of Sara Carrolli's videos, she did quite rightly say, we've not had a release date, so it might not be out this year. I'm hoping it'll be out towards the end of this year. Fingers crossed. But the last thing I saw Alice Osman say was that she's not actually started working on it yet. So I could be jumping the gun, which is really sad because it's on my 25 to read in 2025. So if I did say in that video, and I'll say it again here, if it's not released by the end of the year, then I will swap out that book, but I'm just not sure what one for, so I will let you guys know later on in the year if I do switch it out. However, I just need volume 6 now. I need to know kind of the finale of the story and see where Nick and Charlie are, because they are just incredible. They're like the most perfect book couple ever. They're just so sweet, and it really does kind of heal my inner child and my inner kind of teenage angst towards boys and relationships, and so I just love it. 14. Bookish things I'm leaving behind in 2024. The thought that audiobooks aren't reading. If I was to say at the start of 2024, oh, most of your reading now will be done by audiobook and you'll like often tandem read the book, I'd have gone, no it isn't. Audiobooks aren't reading, that's just listening. That's not reading a book. But throughout the year, I've kind of learned to love audiobooks. Again, I used to love them a lot when I was younger. I think I listened to quite a lot of the Jacqueline Wilson books on audiobook. And now I'm just like, there's so much dead time as such. When I'm driving to work, when I'm at the gym, where some days I don't want to listen to music, but I want some sort of noise. And so I find the audiobook is the best way and helps me consume books. You know that feeling when you're reading a book and you're like, I don't want to put this down, but I have to go to work. Or I don't want to put this down, but I should probably go for a walk or go to the gym. You don't have to. It's on audiobook. You just listen to it. That's what I'm doing. And especially audiobooks like None of This Is True, where they have podcast elements and they kind of make the audiobook sound like that. Incredible. So yes, audiobooks aren't reading as an opinion is staying behind in 2024, and I've taught myself different and better. And so I'm doing lots of reading by audiobook because sometimes I just want to sit down and colour on my phone. So I put an audiobook on. Question number 15. What can you expect from Lauren Lucy Reads channel in 2025? It's so exciting. The thought of having my channel for a year and for hopefully uploading consistently throughout the year and expressing my opinions and my thoughts and just sharing my love for reading with everyone. What can I expect this year? So each month I tend to do a TBR video, a wrap-up video and a finishing series video. Then around that is kind of just whatever I'm feeling. Some months I will post more reading vlogs than others. So this month hasn't been a very reading vlog heavy month because I've had a lot of kind of the start of the year videos, my summary of 2024 videos, my reset videos. Next month's also not a very reading vlog heavy month because I have planned that one out, and I'm very much busy in February. February is my birthday month and it's also the end of the semester at uni, so I've got a couple of assignments and stuff due, so I'm not going to have a lot of time to be filming because I will still be reading the same amount. However, I find the filming of myself reading or my updates not tedious, but it's time consuming, and so therefore I don't always remember, and I'm up early for work, and so I just struggle sometimes, and I find myself not necessarily enjoying it as much because I'm rushing. And so I thought, let's really embrace the fact that next month is going to be a rough month. And so if you get an extra reading vlog of just here's what I'm reading at the moment, then amazing. But at the moment there's what my finishing series vlog in there. But reading vlogs, I really want to do some kind of book scavenger hunts, but might have to be done slightly differently because I don't actually keep my read books here at uni. I take them home kind of every time I go home. I take all the books that I've read recently home so I can keep my storage here kind of to the minimum. So yeah, any ideas? Oh, my washing's done. Any ideas on what you guys want to see, please, please, please let me know, because I'm always open to suggestions, and I consume a lot of booktubes, so I often will take video ideas from other booktubers that I see. So yeah, anything like that. I do enjoy kind of doing the spinning wheel chooses my reads, so I might do a few more of those. And yeah, anything like that, just let me know, leave it in the comments down below. What do you guys want to see? Because I'm always open to suggestions and ideas. And yeah, and I also think what I want to really focus on this year is just showing my personality. I find that I turn on the camera, I'll be dancing silly, singing, laughing, really energetic, and I turn on the camera and I'm a little bit robotic, and it's just the fear of going, oh gosh, this is going out somewhere. But I want to show more of my personality and hone on that and just hopefully get a bit better with that. So that's kind of the things to expect this year. So please let me know anything that you do want to see. And so then question 16 is, how has your reading taste evolved from last year? So like I briefly touched on earlier, my reading taste at the start of last year was very much romance heavy with some thrillers sprinkled in. Now, I would say I'm now more thrillers. Romance are still my main two genres. However, thrillers have taken kind of a bigger chunk of that than romance. But literary fiction is something that I really enjoy and I am reading more of and enjoying more of. So that's something that it's kind of evolved a bit more. And also at the start of last year, I was halfway through ACOTAR, so that was the first fantasy that I've ever read. And so I've read more fantasy this year. So that's amazing and something that I'm really proud of, because it's a genre that I don't necessarily enjoy that much. Yeah, I enjoy the books. It's just, if you said to me, you need to sit down and only read fantasy, I just wouldn't necessarily enjoy that. And now the fun part of the video. Question 17 are the booktubers that I enjoy and inspire me. So I've got 7 booktubers that I just love to pieces. I will put their pictures on the screen here so you can see them. I'll link them all down below as well. So we've got Ellen Catherine. She is mainly a fantasy and romance reader and does lots of videos kind of similar to these, lots of reading vlogs, lots of TBRs, and she just seems like such a lovely person. You've got Rachel Catherine. She does reading vlogs as well as lifestyle bits and pieces, and also just seems like such a kind soul, based over in Australia. So it's really interesting to see life on the other side of the world. You've got Florence Harvey, who again does lots of reading vlogs, some TBR videos, and sometimes some lifestyle bits dispersed in, but not overly that much. You've got Belle Terese, I think that's how you say it. She does lots of book recommendations, TBR videos, reading vlogs, and she mainly reads romance and fantasy. Sorry, I forgot to say, Rachel Catherine is a romance, lit fic, fantasy, and Florence Harvey is lit fic and thrillers mainly. And then you've got Geena Lillian. She is the queen of speed reading. I'm sorry, I've never seen anyone read so quick. Last year she did a 60 books in 60 days challenge and she smashed it, and that's just incredible to me. So I loved all those videos. She has her book channel, which she does a lot of TBRs, reading challenges, reading vlogs, and then she does have a lifestyle channel as well. And Geena mainly reads lit fics, romance and fantasy, I believe. It's definitely romance heavy. And then you've got Sara Carrolli, who is the queen of booktube, I believe. She does lifestyle bits and reading vlogs and TBR videos. She's said at the start of the year she's going to do a bit of a channel switch up, so that's going to be really exciting to see. And she mainly reads fantasy and romance. And then the last one is Lily Grace. She is really interesting to watch because she's also a uni student, so it's kind of nice to see her reading as we're kind of in the same realm, I guess, at the moment, same life path. And her main genres are romance and fantasy. So those are kind of the 7 creators that I watch and consume the most of. Generally, if they release a video, I'm there, I'm watching it, so that's amazing, and they're all great channels, so make sure you follow the link in the description because they are just incredible if you're not already watching them. And the final question is, question 18, is something I want to say, or something you want to say to anyone wanting to start a bookish account. Please, please, please just do it. I was so nervous last year. I started my Bookstagram in April time, I believe, March, April time, and I was so worried. I hid it from, well, didn't hide it, but I didn't tell any of my friends about it for months. Even though my best friend and I talk about books all the time, I was so worried. I think I told my mum somewhat early on, and that's about it. So I was really nervous, and yet the absolute kindness I have received on that channel and the people that I've spoken to and the authors that I've spoken to, the indie authors, are just incredible. They are incredible people. And then I created my YouTube at the end of the year, and I was filming for that, and I didn't tell anyone. So on holiday I bought myself a tripod and I didn't tell anyone why. So I was really nervous about that, and I was like, I'm not going to start filming anything until I go to university, because then I'm not at home and then no one needs to know. And I wasn't going to tell anyone. I was just going to start this booktube. So I was posting it on my Bookstagram, and it was the first ever video that I released, and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to post it on my story, because my best friend went to me, can I post it on my story? And she's obviously friends with a lot of my friends. And I was like, no. And then I was like, why not? My other friend who I went to uni with did. And then I'm like, why not? Why shouldn't I be proud of it? And just, it's the best thing I've done. I really enjoy watching the subscribers go up. Every time I get a new subscriber, I literally gasp and I giggle. And I went from 51 to 53 subscribers earlier, and I literally just sat there. I went on my phone and I just like, oh, I'll check YouTube Studio because it's fun. And I'm like, oh, I got 53 subscribers. And it's just the nicest thing ever. So please just do it. It's such a lovely thing. If you enjoy talking about reading, then you'll enjoy doing this. I don't particularly like the editing side of it. It's something that I need to improve on and I want to work on. That's kind of my aim for 2025, is to work on the editing side of it. And I mean, I've seen a lot of channels say about outsourcing the editing, which is a potential idea. So that's the side of it that I'm not a massive fan of, but I just love waffling on about books and booktube and Bookstagram and just what I'm reading, what I'm doing, and seeing all the fun little like challenges to do. So I would definitely recommend doing it and just doing it. And I so wish I did it sooner. So it is a lot of fun, and if you enjoy watching the content, then you will enjoy making it as well. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you made it to the end of the video, you are an absolute angel and a real one, so thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave a comment down below of anything you want to see this year, and I'll try and do it. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell if you want to be notified when my videos go uploaded. I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I will see you soon. Bye!